Evan is going to break down three of each of the categories. First category, sure things, meaning the guys that are going to be major contributors to your fantasy roster, the superstars that you can lean on week by week. So it'll be three sure things. Then, next category, three breakout players, players that will end up performing more than their average draft position by the end of the season. Their value will go up. Next category, disappointments, which will have players that will go down from their average draft position and end up being disappointments, and guys you may want to leave off your fantasy team or maybe trade high if they do well in the beginning of the season. And then one deep sleeper as well, meaning a guy that could come out of nowhere and be able to, by the end of the season, make a major contribution to your fantasy team. We're going to go over the quarterback position, running back position, wide receiver position, tight end position. So here we go. Without further ado, Mr. Silva will have his we're going to go to his quarterbacks, and he'll name his sure things, which are Andrew Luck of the Indianapolis Colts, Aaron Rodgers of the Green Bay Packers, and Russell Wilson of the Seattle Seahawks. So take it away, Mr. Silva.
Andrew Luck and Aaron Rodgers are pretty much self-explanatory. With Aaron Rodgers, he's the best quarterback in football. He plays in an offense that returns all 11 starters, so they have continuity throughout their first team group. They've also got some young players on the rise. Their center last year, Corey Linsley, was a rookie out of Ohio State, was really good. And Devontae Adams has a lot of room for growth.
Yes.
As a second-year player. Andrew Luck plays in an offense where they just fire off plays. They play a lot of no huddle. They play fast. They have to make up for a defense that isn't great. So they have to score a lot of points. And they also get to tee off on Tennessee, Jacksonville, and they play in the easiest division in the NFL. They're going to put up a ton of points. Andrew Luck can run the ball into the end zone, and he's got Andre Johnson and T.Y. Hilton and Philip Dorsett and Dante Moncrief and Dwayne Allen and Kobe Fleener. I mean, he could throw 50 TD passes. He could have a special type of season. And with Russell Wilson, he was the number 3 fantasy quarterback last year, and he added Jimmy Graham. So his arrow continues to point up.
Yes, and speaking of Andrew Luck, he is playing for a contract because this is his last year of his rookie deal. So that he wants to be able to raise his value and get maybe 70 to 75 million guaranteed.
Absolutely, he's got a lot to play for, man. A lot of dollar signs.
Yes, indeed. It's all for the moolah, that's for sure. So no, it's for the glory too. It's for the glory too. But for breakout players, we have Eli Manning, who is also entering a contract season. This is last year of his deal, and of course him and the Giants. Great relationship, probably the greatest relationship between a franchise and a quarterback in football, I would say. Sam Bradford of the Philadelphia Eagles, who has a new opportunity to play under Chip Kelly, and he fits Chip Kelly's system perfectly. And Jameis Winston, the rookie from Tampa Bay. Tell me about Jameis. You got him high.
Yeah, I like Jameis. I like Jameis a lot. I think that he has the ability to elevate players around him. I think we saw that last year at Florida State. They had an undefeated regular season, and his top targets in the passing game were Nick O'Leary, who runs about a 4.9 and has 29-inch arms. I mean, he's not an NFL player.
Yeah, and Green is marginal NFL running back. Wide receiver. Excuse me.
Receiver, right? Like he might make it as a slot receiver. And Nick O'Leary actually won the Mackey Award.
Yeah, best tight end in the nation.
Yeah, as the best tight end in college football, and he's just not an NFL player. So Jameis Winston showed the ability to elevate teammates in college, which I love. The year before that, when he had Kelvin Benjamin, he had a legitimate NFL player in his receiver core. He had 40 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. So, and in Tampa Bay, he's gonna, the Bucs defense is not gonna be very good. They play in a division against Atlanta, New Orleans, Carolina. They're going to have to score points, and they've got some big-time weapons there as well. Vincent Jackson, Mike Evans, I think will be everybody will consider a top 5 wide receiver by this time next year, and Austin Seferian-Jenkins, who should definitely get better in his second NFL season.
Now, disappointments. You have Matt Ryan, Colin Kaepernick, Carson Palmer. Carson Palmer, we know that he's aging and he's regressing, that's for sure. And then you have Colin Kaepernick of the San Francisco 49ers, Matt Ryan of the Atlanta Falcons. Talk about Kaepernick, because that's interesting. You haven't, because it looks like it's going to be a faster pace of an offense this year for the 49ers.
Yeah, I'm just kind of avoiding everybody in San Francisco. It looks like it could be a complete dumpster fire. I do like Anquan Bolden, but I'm avoiding Colin Kaepernick. I'm avoiding Carlos Hyde. I mean, I'm worried that this is going to be, a 2 or 3 win team after all that they lost in the offseason. We just recently learned about Aldon Smith, probably was their best player left on their roster. They had to release him.
Yeah.
I just think that it wouldn't surprise me if Colin Kaepernick got benched at some point. Like, I just think this is such a bad situation. You really don't want to invest in 49ers players this year.
Yeah, and then the backup is Blaine Gabbert, the worst quarterback I've seen in my lifetime.
Same here, man. Same here.
The deep sleeper, Geno Smith. Changeli has something to do with a possible renaissance this year, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Changeli, he has run a lot of different style of offenses, but in recent years, he's ran a lot of spread offense, which, being a college coach, he probably picked that up. He ran it with Tyler Thigpen in Kansas City, and he also ran it with Ryan Fitzpatrick in Buffalo. They would spread the field with 5 wide receivers. It's almost like the Mike Leach offense in the NFL, and that's why they went out and invested in a bunch of wideouts. They used that high second-round pick on Devin Smith, and they went out and traded for Brandon Marshall, and they got Eric Decker and Jeremy Curley. So they've got some interesting receivers there. Devin Smith is banged up right now, but he should be back relatively early in the season. He can take the top off for sure. Brandon Marshall, I think, still has plenty left in the tank. When he was healthy last year, he was dominant, and he had some dominant games late in the season as well. And Eric Decker, who, he was probably a disappointment his first year in New York, but he was playing through a hamstring injury the entire season. I mean, there are some big-time players right now on the Jets in terms of their pass catcher core. They've also got Jason Morrow, the second-year tight end.
Yes.
I think Geno might surprise some people this year. I think that offense as a whole might surprise some people. I like Chris Ivory too. You can usually get him like 8th round in fantasy drafts.